met a traveler from an antique land, who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things. The hand that mocked them, and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear: My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. Hello everyone, and welcome to Kevin's Seventh Heaven. That was a reading of Percy Bysshe Shelley's poem, Ozymandias. It was originally published on January 11th, 1818 in The Examiner. Shelley wrote it in a friendly competition with fellow poet Horace Smith. They challenged each other to write a poem about the same subject and using the same title. Here is Smith's poem. In Egypt's sandy silence, all alone, stands a giant leg, which far off throws the only shadow that the desert knows. I am the great Ozymandias, saith the stone, the King of Kings. This mighty city shows the wonders of my hand. The city's gone. Naught but the leg remains to disclose the site of this forgotten Babylon. We wonder, and some hunter may express wonder like ours, when through the wilderness where London stood, holding the wolf in chase, he meets some fragment huge, and stops to guess what powerful but unrecorded race once dwelt in that annihilated place. The same title. Here is Smith's poem. In Egypt's sandy silence, all alone, stands a giant leg, which far off throws the only shadow that the desert knows. I am the great Ozymandias, saith the stone, the King of Kings. This mighty city shows the wonders of my hand. The city's gone. Naught but the leg remains to disclose the site of this forgotten Babylon. We wonder, and some hunter may express wonder like ours, when through the wilderness where London stood, holding the wolf in chase, he meets some fragment huge, and stops to guess what powerful but unrecorded race once dwelt in that annihilated place. Shelley's was published under the pseudonym Glycerates, which meant dormouse lover, because he had nicknamed his wife Mary Shelley, of authorship of the Frankenstein novel fame. He nicknamed her Dormouse. The subject of these came about because the British Museum would be acquiring what is known as the Younger Memnon, or a statue of the head and torso of Pharaoh Ramses II. Ozymandias is a Greek version of Ramses' throne name, Usermatre. Both feature themes about the impermanence of power from both political and civilization standpoints. We see the desolation around where the statue is coming from, and how their importance as leaders means very little now. I find it interesting that Smith goes further and imagines a ruined London, where some hunter comes upon this Egyptian artifact and the remains of the British Museum, and wonders, who were these people that had such massive things? Shelley was also of a political mindset, and many view this poem to be pointed at rulers of the time, such as King George IV and Napoleon. This image of sand used in both poems makes me think of the sand mandalas that are a common meditative practice for Tibetan Buddhists. The sand comes from a mixture of naturally occurring sand colors, as well as sand colored with other natural materials. These sands are laid out in extremely intricate designs, using small tubes, funnels, and scrapers called shakpur. The work is done by a team of monks, and often takes several weeks to complete. Each piece of the mandala represents various ideas, places, and deities, and each mandala is different. so the pieces may be different in other mandalas as well. During its creation, it is said to be being imbued with healing energies. And then when it is complete, it is systematically and ritually destroyed and placed into a jar and then covered in silk. It is then taken to a river and released so that that healing energy can be shared with the rest of the world. It also shows how fragile and impermanent the world and its people are. This is also an important part of the poems, the use of art to preserve an energy. In the case of the mandala, it is healing energy, but in the case of the statues, it is the energy of history. When we look at history, there are two things about it we need to draw into our current lives. One, to learn from the mistakes and successes of the past, and two, to realize this too shall pass. This good thing or bad thing in our lives will inevitably pass, like the mandalas and the statues. To round things out, I want to talk to you about two people whose focus was not on our places in history, but on our place in the universe. Among other things, Carl Sagan said this upon viewing a photograph Voyager 1 took of Earth as it was leaving our solar system. It's called the pale blue dot. Look again at that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. Edgar Mitchell also had some thoughts upon seeing Earth from out there in space. He said, "You develop an instant global consciousness, a people orientation, an intense dissatisfaction with the state of the world, and a compulsion to do something about it. From out there on the moon, international politics look so petty. You want to grab a politician by the scruff of the neck and drag him 250,000 miles out and say, 'Look at that, you son of a bitch.' As long as we focus on our own individual levels of importance, we can't focus on truly helping people. But then again, hopefully, this selfishness, this too shall pass." Anyway, thanks for listening to me. Please like and subscribe. See you next Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Ta-ta for now. Love you all.